Okay, restream.
I've just realised I haven't got any lights. Like, my lights are all behind me. I was an
no,
idiot.
that is quite creepy.
Yeah, I only turned on... right, I've cleaned up all around the floor where I sit to do this, because obviously my PC's broken, so I'm sat on the floor like a hero. And I was looking around the floor, because we've cleaned up, you wouldn't notice, I've cleaned up the room. And I was like, why the hell is this light on a monopod? I never use it. What a stupid thing to have in the middle of the floor. Took it apart, put it away, put it on, tucked it, did all the thing. And I was like, oh shit, that's Rare Nerds. Oh no.
It's Rare Nerds light. No.
And I was like, hang on, where's my camera? Oh no.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like, when like they've like got some sort of like mole who's like sort of want to remain anonymous.
Yeah, I've just been playing it. I need to get a voice changer.
I was going to say, get a voice changer, but so it makes your voice sound a bit like that.
They'll say, not his real voice.
Yeah, it's the voice by an actor.
Yeah.
But the actor has to be really inappropriate for the person. So, like, this big hulky bloke, and then the actor goes, hello, well, this is the news out in the government.
I want a little Asian lady for me.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Now, will she be speaking English, or will she be speaking...
I don't know, whatever she feels like. And the more racist, the better.
I think you want some... What you need is a whole K-pop team, band.
That'd be fantastic.
Just singing in their little, like, high-pitched, annoying voices.
That'd be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. Can we have a guy and a girl band as well? Like, have them all together, just doing their thing.
Yeah. Evening, Annie.
Hi, Annie. That'd be so amazing. Well, it's like I already decided that if I was ever going to do a film that would save the world, I have decided that I wanted at one point Usain Bolt to play me. So
yes, we had discussed this.
It's got to be done.
We're going to have Usain Bolt. We're going to have Carl Pilkington in it, weren't we?
Mm-hmm. Oh no! So you're thinking of Space Barbarian?
No. You're right. I've got the two mixed up.
Which is actually funny. You mentioned Space Barbarian because so a few people asked me for links to the vlogs. And as you know, they all disappeared last year. And I was like, I'm going to pick like 3 or 4 that I kind of like. So I ended up picking 2 and then just put up the Danish Man First Visit. So when Zaber came down in 2019, I got the links for those. And I found my 30th birthday, which is where we're all like fucking around on the kids' playhouse and having the barbecue. Yeah. And
happy birthday for last week, by the way.
Thank you very much. And the the Space Barbarian episode where we're all completely like mashed off of our faces because we haven't slept in days, and it's like 6 o'clock, the sun's rising, and we're giggling away, shouting about how we're going to convince Arnold Schwarzenegger that he's terrified of dwarfs. And that Brian Blessed's going to shout at him all the time, and Carl Pilkington's going to be the wizard, and so I linked that vlog. I linked that vlog on Facebook, the 30th birthday and the season 1 of Zabe Moore coming to the UK, only to then be told by YouTube, any video uploaded before 2021 or 2020, anything unlisted, we're just going to private it. It's like, I've already just made those fucking unlisted again.
Yeah, it said you can opt out of that.
It's fine.
I saw that they people have seen a bit up in arms about it because they're saying they're making everything unlisted to private. I sort of get it because like some people like store stuff as unlisted. I still get that, but it's not. It's not like they're saying we're just going to delete them. So it's just that you're relying on the content creators to go back and change them.
Well, it's not even so much that. It's because they're changing part of their algorithm for how they generate links to stop people from being able to scrape or something like that. So what they're saying is if you want those old videos to remain unlisted, download them and re-upload them or make them public.
Well, you could just opt out. I'm sure it says you could just opt out on the YouTube.
No, it said to me that all these videos were going to be privatized, and that if I wanted them unlisted again, I'd have to download and re-upload them so that because the links were so old.
Right. I can't get the message up at the moment. So I missed it.
I wouldn't worry about it. I'm probably completely wrong, but at the end of the day, it's only a handful of. I don't want anyone to watch that shit anyway. And if necessary, I'll just download them again and put them on Facebook or Pornhub or wherever they're supposed to go. So, you know, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Birth of Space Barbarian. Industrial OnlyFans, of course.
Of course, yes. Get everybody on the TheSuffolkRam.
Skazz.
Welcome to episode 169. Episode 169.
The time sponsored by Accurist will be.
Not 168. This is episode 169. I got it right this time.
Are you sure it's not a 0.5?
No, we haven't had a 0.5 in ages.
I was going to say, I can't remember what the last 0.5 was. Was that just because we goofed or because we did extra content?
No, that was the one where you had to pop off early.
Oh, there you go.
You had to have to leave, didn't you, because of that incident.
Ah, yes. That incident.
Yes.
God damn it.
We'll leave that to the listener's imagination. So, how are you? So, what have you been up to, Skazz?
I've got the plague, mate. I'm dying. We're now coming out of lockdown. Coronavirus is no longer a thing, apparently. So we're all going out and licking people and hugging each other and all that. Although looking around my area, you wouldn't have realised that lockdown was still in effect until next week after, whenever. Because everyone is literally sucking each other off down the pub as we speak.
Marvellous.
So, yeah. But I've got the plague, and it's not Rona, but I don't want to be an insensitive twat and go, we're at the tail end of a lockdown, so I'm just going to go out anyway and just start, coughing over people and spitting on people. So, as fun as that would be, I'm not going to do it.
No.
How are you, Ram? How was your camping holiday?
Oh, it was fantastic. It rained pretty much constantly. So I spent most of the week sat inside the tent. So, but of course, my only full source of food was a barbecue, which meant I had to have a barbecue going outside the tent. Can't do barbecue inside the tent for obvious reasons. Had a cover, but didn't mean that every so often I had to dash out in the rain to uncover it and hope that they weren't getting too cool.
So you were going a bit green hell on us.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, oh, you must be. What's he saying when it breaks? Oh God, you're joking. Something like that, doesn't he?
You can't start there.
You're kidding me.
Just speaking of green hell, I was halfway tempted to play that again the other day.
Oh, marvellous.
So I just wanted to wail on people with my axe.
There you go.
Because reasons. But anything else other than having a swim and living the tribal life?
Let's live the tribal life. Yes. So well, it's quite good. The police didn't come and see me till last night, which is a new record. Normally they see me quite early.
What are you doing?
Are you a terrorist? No, officer, I'm not a terrorist.
Okay, then.
I I heard them coming through the woods. And as I walked around the corner, I saw them there, and I said, "Oh yeah," I said, "You're late this year." He said, "Normally you're here by Wednesday to come see me, make sure I'm not going to kill anybody."
They're like, "Hang on a minute."
I said, "That's what you've been the last few times you've come up." And he goes, "Oh no, I've just had reports of your vehicle being up here." I said, "Yeah, I know, I'm camping up here."
This is where I live, mate.
Yes, where I live. It's like, yeah, it's all right. Okay, then we'll. He said, to be fair, we recognised the vehicle. We just came up here just to show the people who reported you that we are doing something.
Oh, nice. There you go. That great confidence booster right there. We're just here because we've got to make it look like we're doing something.
They know who I am. I'm there every week. They know me. If I'm
That's usually a bad thing, mate. That's usually a bad thing. You're like a Rozer or a security guard, or you're a crim. Yeah, mate, they know me. I'm
known to the local police, innit?
Mate.
Innit, mate. Yeah, they know who I am. They know my vehicle. If I'm a terrorist, I'm definitely doing it for the long game. This is a deep cover operation I'm performing as we speak.
No, mate, but he was a good bloke. I spoke to him all the time. And then he blew up whatever.
Local police force dealt with suspects, several times, never moved him on. You can just see the headline now, can't you?
Ah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So I have basically been stuck in a tent, so no gaming for me.
Mate, well, it's lucky for you. Lucky for you, I've been playing a game we've probably spoken about 1 million times before. It's not Neptunia. It's not East. East is coming next week. Woo!
Marvelous.
But it's
It's not Monster Hunter, is it?
No, mate. No. That might be coming soon too when the
Monster Hunter
PC version comes out. What else is there?
They're your main ones you talk about a lot. NieR Automata.
Oh yeah, such a great game.
To be fair, we spent several episodes on NieR Automata.
I was gonna start that again because I got given a copy of the new one on Xbox. Was it Xbox or Play? It was on one of them, and I was like, "Oh, yay, NieR!"
Thank you. It's what I've always wanted.
It is my dream come true to play this game through to completion.
I have been so excited. It's a day one purchase for me. Thank you.
I have been so starved of entertainment. Entertainment. Yes. Yeah, actually,
Skazz.exe has encountered a fate ever.
Yeah, dung. Like,
Skazz.exe appears to be running slow. Do you wish to terminate this script? The script is called Pandering.
There's like, so I've got it. I haven't played it yet. I'm actually looking forward to it because it's obviously a remake of the classic NieR game that came out in Japan a million years ago that most people haven't played, but they've changed it all to make it play like NieR Automata because NieR Automata fans haven't played classic NieR because they're fantards and they only found out about the series when the last new old one came out with the lady in the dress that does the flips and the guy in the school uniform that talks shit all the time. That one. That's the one they played, so they don't know. But it's not that. And by the way, I now own Cyberpunk on PC, Stadia, Xbox, PlayStation 4. And I haven't played it since we spoke about it. So
I think they've put the last patch out now. I was going to fire up again and I put the last patch out.
Did you actually finish it?
I got quite far and then I thought actually I looked at sort of time they're going to patch it. I thought actually I'm going to ease off and let them patch it all up.
You're going to let them patch it?
I wasn't having any massive issues with it. I thought actually I'm going to wait for them to patch it all up and go back to it. But yeah, I don't know how far I actually got into it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I got sort of into sort of what I call the main part at least, and I decided to sort of take a break away from the fish patching it first, and then go back to it.
Sure. Well, I'm looking forward to your review, Mark II, and I might have a go at the console versions because rip PC.
That's the PC.
So soon we'll be able to get another graphics card for you without me having to sell my kidneys. One day.
Has your laptop arrived yet?
Actually, funny you say that. Yes, it has.
Oh, marvellous.
I'm excited. I'm not on it right now because I couldn't be bothered. Well, actually, I'll tell you why I'm not on it right now. It doesn't have an Ethernet port on it.
What?
Yeah, because it's only a 14-incher. It's only a little one. It's little. Right,
it's not how small it is. It doesn't matter about size, guys. It's what you can do.
And that's exactly what I said. Because I looked at it, I was like, hang on a minute, there's no Ethernet port on here. I was like, oh yeah, it's the 15-inch that's got the Ethernet port on it. Silly me. Not a big deal though, because there's a dongle for that. But I don't have one of those dongles, so no Ethernet. And I just said, yeah, but I'm not using that for the podcast because it's got no Ethernet on it. What's the one cable I forgot to plug into this laptop?
Ethernet.
Yeah, nailed it. I forgot. So I done goofed, but it's actually quite pretty. It's pretty and it does things. And whilst it's not as fast as my PC, it's a damn sight faster than the laptop, the rectangle I'm on now. And yeah, so it's gravy. It's gravy. It's not super hardcore for gaming, but at least I might be able to play Valheim at more than 2 frames a second.
That'd be good.
So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it, to be honest. And the killer feature for me ain't the graphics card, ain't the proc, ain't the RAM, ain't the screen. It's the fact you can charge it over USB-C up to 100 watts. So if I'm ever out in the boonies and I'm doing whatever, and I need, because obviously you can edit on battery power and all that kind of stuff. You can still do all your rendering and all that. You just run it at kind of reduced power when you're on, or like a reduced output. Like you can't run your graphics card full bore or your processor at full bore because the battery can't provide enough power to do that. So it scales everything back. But the trick is that, like, let's say I drain the battery whilst I'm working or whatever, I can just literally plug in, like, a phone battery bank. So for the audio listeners, I've just bust out one of my... Do you remember I did that mobile Nintendo Switch docked setup with a screen and the Nintendo Switch dock, and I was running it all off of a 45-watt power bank? Well, I can charge the laptop off one of these power banks. So, I mean... I don't actually know what the actual wattage of the power supply for the laptop is. Well, I think it's a 65-watt graphics card that will turbo up to like 75. And I think the proc is 45 watts. So I can't run it full bore and charge the battery off of the 100-watt USB-C. But good enough. And I can just, like, you know, pop it on a table and just charge it off of a battery bank. And then next time I actually need to get some work done, I can, you know, get bits done. And that for me is great. That's the first machine I've had where I can...
Does it come with a traditional charger as well?
It does come with a proper wall outlet so that I can then run it, you know, full whack. Because the main power supply has got a high enough output to be able to drive the graphics card full pelt, the processor full pelt, and still charge the battery. Because obviously that's the other thing, like that your battery is going to take a large chunk of the power that comes from the wall when it comes to laptops. Majority of that is usually going to the battery to charge it up, or a large chunk of it's going to the battery to charge it up. If you've already drained the battery, that's where a lot of your power's going.
Better quality power for the water. It's nice. It's like mineral water.
Yeah,
nice and creamy.
It's good stuff and it's reliable. It's you know it's nice. It's a nice little machine. I'm really psyched to use it. It's fallen victim to a few of those little issues that I don't like about modern laptops. So like bits are soldered to the board and all that. But I'll take it. It's an ultra portable. It's plenty powerful enough, and I can charge it over a USB port. So
that's what you want at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I do like my laptops to at least, like, you know, for me to be able to service the RAM and the battery, get to the fans and all that kind of stuff. But that's just not the way they're building laptops anymore. So unless I want them to be a foot thick and made out of like lead, so you know, it's nice. It's nice. Screen's nice.
So, what game have you been playing then?
I've been playing a classic from the Xbox 360 days. Do you remember a game called Lost Planet? Extreme Conditions?
I had Lost Planet back in the days when I owned an Xbox 360.
The bar of soap.
Briefly, the inverted bar of soap. I had Lost Planet for the Xbox 360. And I played it, and I really got annoyed with it.
Really?
So, yeah, I got very annoyed with it.
I'm sure we've spoken about Lost Planet before, but this is a classic Ram Nerds episode.
Oh, this is going back. Bards, I'm sure, spoke about Lost Planet. So that's going back. I think he talked about Lost Planet when you were in your old house.
Yeah, that's probably that's when I kind of think about when we last spoke about it, or when I thought I spoke about it. So what was it you didn't like about Lost Planet?
I wasn't a great fan of the whole heat mechanic.
Okay.
Which is basically your health.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact, because there were a couple of times where I was like sort of pushed right to the edge of like killing the end boss. I got the boss killed. I had just enough health left. The boss had an animation.
And you died at the
doing the animation. And that, like, at that point, if you're going to have an animation, like big long animation, either doing a cutscene or just temporarily suspend the timer. So the player doesn't die while watching an animation they can't skip.
Yes.
So that annoyed me, and I just didn't find it particularly. I just got bored fairly quickly with it. I found it was because the trouble is it's set on an Arctic planet, so everything's very white and grey.
Yes.
And I got pretty bored of it pretty quickly because it's like it's just the same old thing again and again and again.
Yeah, so pretty much. So
it just didn't. It did. I didn't engage with it.
I'll tell people what Lost Planet is then. So, Lost Planet Extreme Conditions is basically humanity does something, travels around, goes to other planets. We're looking for other planets to settle on. I guess we must have stuffed Earth up really, really bad. I can't remember exactly what they said happened to it, but we went away to other planets. And we found this nice, really, really cold one that we can't really live on. And we decided this is where we're going to stay. So we start building up colonies and everything's pretty good. We're all, poor and suffering and all that. And after some time, the local life decides to say, hey, mate, fuck you lot. And started trying to nom us. And there's little small ones, there's medium ones, and there's really big fucking ones that'll just squish you flat dead. And they're called.
Interestingly, it's the same backstory as Borderlands.
That's interesting, that, isn't it? And all the rich people fucked off and left all the poor people on the planet.
That's Borderlands.
Yeah, there you go. And
Borderlands is it's a bit in an Arctic planet, and then it goes to a hot period, and all the wildlife wakes back up.
And then you're like, oh, crap.
And all the rich people fuck off.
Because they're like, nah, mate. You lot can deal with this. So, I'm pretty sure, though, in Borderlands, the enemies aren't called acrids and aren't giant bug thingies.
There are giant bug thingies in Borderlands.
There are giant bug thingies, but are they the main things that you have to kill? Or do you have to kill pirates, too?
No, you have bandits, you have like doggy things, you have flying things, and you have buggy things.
Yep. What I'm going to say is, I think Lost Planet is cold, third person, medium-sized robot Borderlands. Maybe.
That's about right.
So it's like that, but it's a third-person shooter where you can run around on foot. You've got a grappling hook, which is cool. I instantly give it bonus points because you have a grappling hook. Carry your guns, like pick up a set number of guns. You've got subs like grenades and all that. As Ram said, you've got a thermal mechanic, a heat mechanic, whereby as long as you kill enough enemies, you fill up your thermal energy tanks, and so as long as you have T energy, you don't die. It's your
health mechanic as well.
If you lose health, your health will regenerate as long as you have T energy, but it will make the T energy bar go down faster. And even if you have health but run out of T energy, you will die because that's what's stopping you from freezing to death.
Yeah, it's constantly counting down.
Yes. The main way to...
basically puts time on the entire game the whole time you're playing. You've got a constant timer on it.
Yeah. Now, the main way to get thermal energy is to kill Acrid, because they're the main source of thermal energy on the planet, I believe. And there's like little checkpoints that you can go to. You open them up, they're like little GPS waypoint stationy thingies, and they give you a boost in thermal energy, and they have a little beacony thingy that points you in the direction of where you need to go, because the maps are all like big and open and don't actually tell you where you need to go, kind of thing. It's not particularly clear. And if you're on PC and you've got the graphics turned up a bit, I don't remember the Xbox version having hardcore particle physics, but I was rocking around on the PC version with the graphics turned up going, oh shit, I can't see, there's too much snow, oh that's a cliff. Well, there you go, that's me dead. So that's how that goes. There's not just Acrid, you've got bandits, pirates, and government agency
science. Have you had to go in the mech suits yet?
Yes, the VSs. Now, the VSs were developed to allow humans to fight Acrid, because apparently Acrids are too tough to fight without medium-sized robot suits, yet I've had very little trouble up to this point taking on giant fucking acrids, unless they kill you in one hit, or other giant robot suits with just my machine gun, because reasons. And as long as you've got enough thermal energy, you can take shit tons of damage, and that's gravy. Oh, I will say, actually, if there's one thing that is going to wind you up about that game, enemies tend to stun lock you very easily. So if another, like, VS suit, like the big robot thing, comes at you, and they start firing rockets or whatever, you can't shoot whilst you're being shot. So, like, that will kind of put you in a stun animation. They will stun lock you, and you will get fucked up. Your suits will go down incredibly quickly versus the enemy suits. So, and as I say, with particle effects and that, if they're firing off rockets and smoke bombs and stuff, you can't see a damn thing. They know exactly where you are, but you don't know where they are. It's great. Yeah. Various different robot suits, though. You've got heavies that... You can change the weapons on these suits. Sometimes they don't have weapons on them, like you might just have a Gatling gun or whatever. You can pick up rocket launchers, beam rifles, things like that. Funny enough, you can actually pick up the suit's weapons yourself, but you have to kind of brace them like your Arnie and Predator, and you can't move whilst firing them. Yeah, the game says, like, oh, get in this VS. It's so much faster and so much better. Yet I find them to be such a pain in the ass that I try to avoid them as much as possible. In fact, in a couple of cases, the last boss I fought, which was like a giant moth style thing, I found it easier to fight out of the suit because I was a smaller target for it to hit. So I just kind of climbed up to this, up onto this cliff thing, picked up a rocket launcher and just fired at it and just watched it fall to pieces. I also took out this woman in her giant robot suit thing. And the first time I fought her, as you said, I got quite wound up actually because the game just kept stun locking me and I couldn't see her to hit her. And then it loaded me up, it loaded the checkpoint up, and I fought her again the second time and just curb stomped her. So the game's really kind of weird in how it handles you as a player. Like, sometimes the AI is really brutal and cheap, and other times it just goes, oh, look, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, and they'll just kind of walk around and, like, I don't know, occasionally fire a laser at you or something. So it's a weird one. It's a neat story, but as Ram says, it's very much kind of Borderlandsy. It also reminds me of an anime that I can't remember the name of. It's either Perfect Blue or Blue Gender. One of them is about a pop star that's being stalked, and the other one is about people leave Earth to live on a space colony because we fucked up and there are giant monsters on the planet killing everyone, and we're trying to take the planet back. So figure out which one that is and go and watch the one with the giant bugs, although they're both pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's not Perfect Blue. That's the
is that the stalky one? That's yeah. Blue Gender then. Blue Gender. Yeah, that's actually an all right anime, to be fair, and it does make me think of Lost Planet quite a bit. It plays really well on PC as well, but I swear there are some buttons missing when you use the control pad, though. Like if you go into the menu layout, so this is from the time, if you remember, we've had this discussion where I've said how there was a time when PC games were shit on control pad, and they didn't update the UI to say that you were using a pad, but the pad worked. Lost Planet is from that time when they didn't update the user interface. So you'll go into the settings and it will say like press E, press blah 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 blah, and it's got like keyboard and keyboard 2 controls. It's like, but what about the control pad? But when you're in the game, it will say press E or say press X or press B or whatever. It will tell you to press a button, but you can't actually remap them in the main game interface or in the main game settings. It doesn't actually have a control pad option from what I can see.
That's quite annoying.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I find the game quite fun. It's easy. It's a lot easier than I remember, other than the occasional cheap death from like stun locks and one hit kills from, like, you'll occasionally come up against a big acrid, and it will just, like, I don't know, charge at you and bite you in half. Like, you cannot win against that. The object is just to keep running from it. So if it kind of charges and you're in its line, you're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. But other than those, I mean, I'm steamrolling enemies. I'm just running at them with my machine gun, and my thermal energy is almost always in the 9,000s. It's always over 9,000. I'm always carrying a metric ass ton of machine gun ammo, and it's goofy fun. It's not hard, but it's kind of fun. But the voice acting's terrible.
Oh, yeah,
That's absolutely terrible.
That's early console games for you, though, isn't it? It's all early action console games are all terrible voice acting. So,
I mean, Ram, could you do me a favour? Could you do a quick look up of other stuff that came out at round about the same time as Lost Planet? Because then I've got one complaint about it, a serious complaint.
All right, let me find out when release. 2013. I didn't realise it was that. No, sorry, that's Lost Planet 3. 2006. I'll say 2013, I'm sure it was wrong. First, it's Lost Planet Extreme Condition. Okay. Any particular platform or any particular sort of genre you asked me to?
No. Just like, we'll say Xbox because it came out on Xbox.
All right, Xbox. Let's look at Xbox. So, So, 25 to Life, Samurai Showdown 5, Mark Echo's Getting Up, Content Under Pressure, Sonic Riders, Tokyo Race Driver 3, Black, Final Fantasy Streetwise, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, Driver Parallel Lines, The Godfather the Game, the Tomb Raider Legend.
I was going to say, so far we're looking very much B-movie style games at this point.
Yeah, Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast, Windbuck 2, Project Poseidon, X-Men the official game, Zoo Tycoon 2 African Adventure, The Da Vinci Code,
So should we?
Blood Money. Him and Blood Money. There you go. It's a good game from that era. And one Street Ball, Cars.
Should we just say? Should we say this is actually pretty good then, given given the, or it's pretty standard fare then for the kind of crap that was coming out at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just remember there being other games of the time, like maybe Gears and stuff like that, and Army of Two that were better.
I've not come across them yet. It's Flat Out 2.
See, I did plan on playing the PC version years ago when Lost Planet 2 came out. And I ended up getting Lost Planet 2. By the time I decided I was going to go through it again, I got Lost Planet 2. Waiting. Lost Planet 3 came out. And I remember there being a lot of...
Just Cause.
That was a good game. Just Cause and Just Cause 2 were great games.
Just Cause came out.
But yeah, I remember everyone saying how, like, Lost Planet 2, at the time it was... Everyone complained about how hard the intro to Lost Planet 2 was. And so I'm going to go through Lost Planet 1 and then go through Lost Planet 2 because I still haven't played it. After all these years of owning it, I still haven't played it. And then I'm going to go through Lost Planet 3 because I where can it go? I'm curious, does it actually continue or is it a completely separate storyline? But I like it enough to probably to go through it again. But I do have a...
War.
It was about the same time as Gears then, so...
Yeah, Gears of War.
It's got a very Earth Defense Force level of quality to it, if I had to be honest with you, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I like Earth Defense Force, but a lot of people say, well, this is a bit wobbly. Yeah, but it's all right. Complaints. There are two versions on PC, if I remember correctly. Lost Planet Extreme Conditions and Lost Planet Extreme Conditions Colonies. And I think Colonies was an expansion to the original Lost Planet. Now, I've never played that. I never played it on console. I never played it on PC. But one of them has... is it Games for Windows Live was tacked into it.
Here you go.
Go on.
Lost Planet Colonies is the gold edition of Extreme Edition for Xbox 360 and Microsoft Windows. The game includes a new multiplayer maps, a human versus Aquid multiplayer mode, and a selection of new multiplayer characters and weapons. Colonies also introduced four new single-player modes: Score Attack, Time Trial Battle Mode, a first-person shooter mode, and a limited ammo mode. The game also includes cross-platform play between Xbox Live, there you go, and Games for Windows Live.
There you go.
Colonies is not compatible with the original Lost Planet save games or multiplayer games, with players each release may only play with others with the same release. There you go.
So here's my thing. The game, the Colonies one, doesn't seem to work anymore because Games for Windows Live is gone.
Yeah.
They didn't patch it out. So you can launch the game, but then it just goes black and then disappears. And I just thought it was funny that the older version, the original PC release, still works.
That's true of any game. I mean, look at that's true of many games that have, when they introduce third-party stuff like they have their multiplayer components, or any sort of like lobby-type system. I mean, look at, any game that uses like servers. I mean, look at things like your Steel Battalion series, for example.
Yep.
Or stuff like, Games for Windows Live, but that killed lots of games. GameSpy, when GameSpy...
Yeah, I was about to say GameSpy.
That
Did GameSpy... Was GameSpy used when Red Alert was out? Or am I thinking of something else?
Wasn't Red Alert using their... I thought Red Alert used their own thing.
Or was GameSpy for...
I think GameSpy supported it, because there were some games that GameSpy just would work with, and your games had their own...
Yeah.
There's some that only worked through GameSpy.
Yeah.
I think, didn't some of the original Rainbow Sixes only work
Yes,
through GameSpy?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, when they went down... I know there was someone did release some software for free, like open source software, I can't remember what it was called, that basically emulated GameSpy, so the game would think that GameSpy was there, but it was all like sort of hacked in to make it work. I can't remember exactly what did it, but yeah, I remember that going down.
It makes me sad sometimes. I was just like, just patch it out, please.
Not worth it, is it? It's
No.
not worth it. It's just not worth, for how much that game probably brings them in of a year. It's not worth sending a dev to go back and fix it.
I mean, I'd have thought, wouldn't it be wise if you just had like a build ready where you just, like, when you make a game, just get it ready to not need that stuff.
It's for playing though, and I think there's still an attitude of, well, high-end's going to be playing that in the future.
Yeah, I do understand it. It's just, it seems silly for archival purposes, like, because there are still people who are playing Super Nintendo games, for fuck's sake. It's the same argument a lot of people actually have with Nintendo. It's like, you've got to let people archive this stuff, because you're not going to fucking do it.
Well, no, they will, but they'll charge you like more money for it when they re-release it.
Maybe. There are many a game that have been lost to time. But
it comes down to it's development costs, because who knows what the code is like on that. Someone's got to. It's not just a case of pick it up, go into it, and just change it. You've got to tour yourself through old 13-year-old code and sort of like try and work out what on earth the person who's coding was thinking. Because even coding styles have changed since then.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not just a case of just. And of course, the big issue I think that stops it is testing.
Yeah.
You basically change it. You've now got to test it to make sure you haven't fucked the whole thing up. Well, why would you have your QA team on that when they're testing the newest Resident Evil game. As this is a Capcom game, new Resident Evil game. They've got to make sure that's sorted out first,
Yeah.
rather than test play Lost Planet, which is probably like has like sort of like 20 active users at any one time.
I mean, it just makes me sad though, because I think to myself that there are going to be games that my children are going to want to play. They're like, oh hey, we played this with Dad and our friends, and then they're going to go to play it, and it's not going to work. They're going to own it, but they're not going to be able to play it. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, just kind of kicks me in the vagina a little bit there, you know?
Yeah, but same MMO games, isn't it? You know, their MMO games lost the time because no one had the netcode.
I mean, it's even worse. That's one of the reasons why a lot of MMOs drive me insane. When they release a new expansion, they lock out all the previous content. It's like, don't do it. Let people still play the classic content and instance the new stuff. So that once you beat like the original stuff, let that then unlock the instance to the expanded content.
Didn't Destiny now do that recently, where they've released stuff and they've locked out a load of the old content?
They did something like that. So you end up going to the tower, but a lot of the old missions were still available through an NPC. So you could go to an NPC and that would trigger the storyline that would run you through the classic campaigns. I don't know if they still do it that way. But it just annoys me when they lock out content. Because it's rewarding people who could maybe get in day one and kicking the shit out of new players. Because there are a lot of things that happen in these games that don't make sense if you weren't there back in the early days of the game.
Yeah. I think that comes down to a case of perhaps they've released some new weapon or something that makes that old stuff trivially easy. So
I understand that.
And rather than rebalance it, or the better way to do it would be to do a system whereby when you go into old content, it basically says you can't use XYZ when you go in here.
Kind of like how Guild Wars did it. It would level your character down. So if you went into like a level 15 area and you were level 50 or whatever, it would automatically drop your stats back down to the max you could be at level 15.
You could do like, let's have a generation system. Okay, so every so often we have a generation. All weapons released in this generation, you've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, this area you're now going into, this map is a generation 3 stuff, so only stuff that's generation 1, 2, or 3 will work in it.
Yeah.
Whereas anything that's generation 4, 5, basically you'll get replaced with a generic replacement while you're playing this mission.
Yeah.
That's one way you could do it, but it's a lot. Again, it's work, isn't it? And
I mean, in the case of Destiny,
I'm sure they looked at the stats and saw how many people are playing these levels in overall, and
see, because I went through Destiny again.
We've just had a chat message come through. Skazz.
Okay.
Lost Planet 3 is more akin to Dead Space. It has some neat aspects, but doesn't have the charm of 1 or 2. And that's from Ghost Hand 246.
I was going to say that was as far as graphics were concerned, that was a lot more polished Lost Planet 3, from what I remember. Like it almost seemed like it had more of a budget. They were really going for a big push on that one, so it doesn't surprise me that a lot of stuff changed. But I haven't played it yet, so I've still got to go through 1 and 2 again. I remember really enjoying 1, but so far I'm just steamrolling it. It's fucking hilarious. So the game's telling me, "Oh, dodge out of the way, the big monster," and I just run at it with a machine gun and it dies. So it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as Destiny and balance and stuff is concerned, I mean, I understand it. But there are so many games out there that do instancing so well. And in the case of Destiny, I mean, I have played Destiny with people probably over the last year or so when they did start to lock off old content or put it through that NPC, where I rolled a new character and I was rocking through the campaign, and then 2 folks I know came in and used a level boost perk, which they usually use to get new players into the kind of higher end content quickly, so they don't have to like gear grind or anything. They used those, came through the scrub beginner content with me, and I was like, oh yeah, here comes one of the bosses. And I remember playing this back when the game came out, Oh yeah, this might take us a little while to do. They both had their super move, or their class special ready, and one of them literally hit it twice and killed it. And I was like, what? This used to be an actual, like a oh my god, things are exploding, get you psyched kind of fight. Now it's just a cakewalk. You can just cheese it. But still, I think it's worth having that content there for players to be able to absorb the lore.
Yeah.
But in a not like I'm just reading about it thing, where they actually experience what happened.
Yeah.
I wish more games did it. I wish companies cared more about their content. But it's where the money's at.
Yeah, it does come down to cost, and is it worth it? Is it worth spending? Because it's not a 5-minute job.
No, for sure.
It's probably a few. It's probably at least to do initial work. It's probably gonna be a few days of actually going back through, working out how the game did stuff, how it did it, and it's probably actually quite. It's probably one of those things that you think it's going to take a few days, probably take a few weeks.
Yeah, sure.
To make work, and it's just not that guy who's doing that could be spending a lot of time coding on your next big game release.
Yeah.
So, but I think some developers in the past have had like legacy teams, teams developers that are just there to deal with the legacy stuff. Because I know we were discussing Warcraft 3, and I know for several years after it came out, they were still doing patches for it. They were still releasing patches for it to like fix bugs and so forth.
That recent patch though, Ram.
Yeah, the recent patch wasn't so popular, but they still obviously had a team there who were just doing legacy work, and that's all they did was obviously just go through old games and fix them. Okay, which is neat, but very unusual.
Mm. Yeah, for once, Blizzard actually giving a shit.
Well, Warcraft 3 is still popular, and I think that's why it's still very highly played. A game that's still played an awful lot on their Blizzard.net.
Were they still playing that in tournaments? Because I know the StarCraft scene just disappeared.
Which one are we talking about? StarCraft 1 or 2? Because I think 2 still.
Is it still going?
I think StarCraft.
Because I thought all the main networks that were kind of broadcasting StarCraft 2 just went and disappeared. I know a lot of the big Korean networks that were doing it just up and disappeared. Because, I mean, StarCraft used to be on Korean TV, didn't it?
So there is a tournament.
Just what I throw out there. Boosting in games like StarCraft and other competitive esports style titles. If you're caught boosting in those games in Korea, fucking your job's gone.
Yeah. So StarCraft 2, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tournaments due, or being done or have already been done this year.
Wow.
The next tournament is started 2 days ago, ends July the 29th, and it's got a prize fund of $118,000.
Thing is, that's quite a small prize pool these days, isn't it?
Oh yeah, StarCraft at one point. I'm sure StarCraft is pushing $1 million prize.
I mean, that was the big game, wasn't it? That was the big esports game.
Well, there's one here. Oh no, here we are. The one that was back in February that had a prize pool of $250,000.
Oh wow, okay. Still pretty small, though, isn't it? If you look at like the Dotas and the Fortnites and
yeah, and that was won by an Italian team.
Oh wow.
Interesting. I mean, admittedly,
well, the Koreans on holiday.
No, there's a lot of South Korean flags on this sheet here. I'm looking at, but there's an Italian team. Who are you? There's a French team, United States team. Yeah, I mean, there's 4 StarCraft tournaments in Seoul. Oh, this is useful. The location of this tournament is the world.
The world. I love that.
But there's one in Europe, later in August. There's been 2. There's one already done in Europe. So there, it still seems that. It's probably not as heyday as it was, but it still seems a pretty active game series.
I'm glad it's still got an audience, it's still being supported, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going back to when was StarCraft 2, would you say that was its peak? That would have been...
Well, StarCraft 2 came out back when we were in college, wasn't it?
Yeah, that would be... Let's see how far back we go. Okay, 2011. Okay, so let's see how many there was. 2000 looks like a big year. Let's see, 1, 2, 5, 2. About 30 competitions in 2011.
Damn.
So but it's down to about half what it was.
Has there ever been an e-sport that you've been particularly into? Because I know we've spoken before about the Dota International.
I did actually watch on the Dota International. I don't know how Dota works, but I did watch on the Dota International.
Sure.
But I had a lot of trouble actually getting it to work.
Getting it to work?
I had a lot of trouble with streams. I had so much trouble getting the stream to watch stream to stay steady. It kept crashing on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with that. So
was it not available on like Twitch, or did you have to do it through the Dota client?
I tried it through both Twitch and the Dota clients, and they were both a bit unreliable.
Oh, wow.
This goes back a lot of years now. Because I watched the they have I assume they don't know if they still do it. They had like a starter stream, which was narrated by people who they assumed you didn't really know anything about Dota. So basically, you watched it and they just basically were like, okay, here's why. Okay, he's doing this. Why is he doing that? Because they sort of like.
Can I throw out there? I know a lot of people would say that's a lot of fluff to have in a stream, but I love it when like professional players and casters do that. So like if it was a fighting game tournament, I would love to see a kind of a warm-ups kind of thing, kind of like an introductory to the game before the actual tournament starts. So like just as players are coming out of pools, like say, this is how specials work, this is how meta works. These are footsies. So when you hear people spitting out the old terminology, everyone's like, oh yeah, cool, I know what that is.
Yeah.
And they can get involved.
Valve were really into that. They really pushed sort of, let's make it easy for people to understand and follow.
Yeah.
Let's make it easy to let's assume people who they're pretty sure that there'll be a lot of people going to be watching who might come to watch this who don't know about how Dota works. Well, that's okay. We'll break it down for them and we'll keep them have a stream. And it's not like they have a stream just for that.
Yeah.
So like if you're someone who knows how it works, you watch one of the other commentators who'll be using all the terminology and so forth and so forth. But they had this little stream put aside, like, okay, you don't know anything, watch this stream. These guys will actually explain what's going on.
Yeah.
Which was neat.
I like that kind of stuff. I think that's probably one of the best ways as well to get new players in. They watch how exciting the game is, and then you've got a specific stream that's saying, you thought that was cool. This is why this is happening. This is how this works. And then you're like, oh, wow, I know that now. I can go in and maybe it doesn't look as daunting when you start to see all the numbers and all the UI elements coming in. And, I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
just there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like esports, but I'm past it. Like I know I could never play at that level. I'm too old for a start. A lot of the games that are played as esports aren't really all that great to me. So like I'm not really into League of Legends. Dota's okay, but again, like League, it's not really something I'm going to play. StarCraft, I couldn't keep up with StarCraft. It just gives me fucking Vietnam style flashbacks of Red Alert. And I mean, I've played Red Alert online. When you find a good player, expect that match to end in like seconds. If you ain't ready, you're done.
I played with a player I was sort of semi-taught by a player who was like number one in I think Europe for a while. And yeah, he just like, oh, I see what you're doing there. I'm just going to come and just kill you immediately.
Yeah.
Bye. I mean, he'd say, like, this is what you need to do. Here's your build, or this is what you should do. Here's how you should do that. And this is your, like, if you don't build in this order, you basically lost the match.
Yeah.
Don't build these. They're a waste of resources. Don't build that. And that actually put me off it because it's like, well, if it's like this is the only builder to play in, that you can't use this stuff because it's just a waste of time.
It's a race to see who can get to whatever first.
It's you've basically solved the game. You found the premier strategy of it, and there's no point really doing anything off for it. So as you say, it's just a race at that point, and how's that fun?
Sure.
So I feel you can still like find clever strategies and so forth, and I believe it still happens. I remember I think we had an article actually about StarCraft 2 maybe a year or two ago where someone discovered a new strategy that just dominated.
Yeah.
And that's like for a game that came out like 10 years ago, that's incredible. You'd think by now the players would have that game sussed.
Yeah. Well, I mean I think something like that happened with Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and Street Fighter 2 Turbo came out back in the early 90s, and they found that this thing they found completely changed like tier lists, like, how high a level is this character versus this other character and all that kind of stuff. It completely changed the balance of the game in that they found that one of the characters' sweeps, or there was a move they did. So some characters had invincibility frames on special moves. And there was this one character, I don't remember which one it was, that was kind of lacking in a lot of departments. They always considered him low tier. But then they found this character's sweep would, if you timed it right, would actually dodge fireballs. So instead of having to jump, you could actually safely sweep under a fireball. And like this was something that was only found maybe a few years back. That completely blew people's minds. Tier lists always, that's one of the things I do like about fighting games. Tier lists always change. Once people find new, like this one new thing, like, oh, that character's really crappy, but maybe their support skill's really good, or maybe they have this one move that someone eventually finds can be linked into a really cool combo. It's neat. But then stuff like Red Alert, I mean, it's from the early days, so it is very kind of cookie cutter. As you say, once you find a path, that's it. It's not like, say, League or Dota, where there's so many characters and so many different potential strats.
Yeah.
That, the meta can change from one week to the next.
And the other thing is, of course, is that things like Dota and League are still being patched.
Yeah, for sure.
And they do adjust, and they will just okay. And I think it's partly in response to, okay, this character is dominating everything, that clearly unbalanced, will therefore change through their stats, and that just resets everything and basically makes old strategies irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that's obviously they're what I call living games, that the developers are still active with them and still doing stuff with them, as opposed to Red Alert, which is a dead game now.
Sure.
I don't know. I'd assume it's still patching StarCraft, given how popular it is. I'm assuming they're still releasing patches for it.
Is it still available on the Battle.net launcher? Must be.
I would have thought so. In fact, you can see StarCraft. Official sites on there. Yeah, released 2010 StarCraft 2. It's free to play.
Is it?
Play free now.
Oh my. I guess that's just for the base game, and then if you want expansions and things, that's...
Yeah, it's and I've just clicked play free now, and it just wants to download StarCraft 2 setup.exe.
Wow.
There you go. That's just one we should put on games night.
Yeah, random StarCraft. Jesus Christ. If you want to start murdering each other, that's the way to go about it.
Yeah, I want to just absolutely just play really badly against each other.
What's your APM? 3.
Well, there's 3 races in it,
Wow. Can you have 3-player matches and stuff? I can't remember now.
I'm sure you can.
You could have massive matches in
strategy games, Johnny.
And like Dawn of War and stuff like that. You could have like fucking full maps.
Dawn of War, I think it was up to 8 players.
Red Alert you could have quite a few. Was that up to like 4 or so? 4 or 6 or something like that?
Players. Yeah, I think. I'm sorry, Dawn of War was definitely. I remember playing and I remember me and a friend playing. because Dawn of War's actually AI. If you put the AI on hard, was actually quite good. And we played against us v4 computers, and the computers weren't allied. We were, but the computers weren't allied. And this orc computer, well, fuck me, man. He just started dominating the entire map. He had such a he took out like two of the other AIs and just like spam had massive bases, and we just couldn't keep up.
He went aggressive Gandhi on your asses, did he?
Yeah, he did. Eventually, my friend got killed, and he's watching me play. This is me left, and I could like sort of muster an attack, destroy his bases, but he was clearly running out of resources to the point he couldn't build things very well. But he had enough built that he could weather anything I threw at him. So I could do an attack, destroy 3 bits. He couldn't really retaliate, but I then had to spend a long time to rebuild my forces and go after him again. So it was like, I said to my friends, I could probably win this, but this is going to take hours.
Yeah.
I have to gradually, slowly break my way through him. I said, this is going to take fucking hours to do this. So I don't think I can. I don't think that's going to be particularly enjoyable.
Has Ram got the stamina as they're giving him energy drinks and kebabs and?
Yeah. So we decided to end that one because but that was insane that the AI just. But apparently, yeah, the hard AI was actually pretty darn.
Do you think we should play some strat games?
Yeah, I think we should put some strat games on there. I would love to play some Dawn of War again.
Sure, they're on Steam, aren't they? Or
Dawn
3
of War
is.
Steam, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I like the classic one.
Fair enough. I think I played
Dawn of War.
I played the classic in a cyber cafe once.
Yeah, I feel I need to if we do that, there's a mod you can get which basically allows you to zoom out more.
Right.
Because it's really zoomed in.
I remember it being quite tight.
Yeah, it's very tight. I didn't remember that when I first played it, but it's actually really zoomed in.
Almost feels tight over the shoulder style. Like you can see the details on your units as you're moving along.
Yeah, so I would like to. I think there's a mod which basically allows you to zoom out more.
Mods
makes it wide, makes it ultra wide and widescreen as well. Because by default it's 4:3. So I think we should do that. We're going to do that just so we can actually makes it a bit more playable. But yeah, I think we should put some strategies on there. It's a bit of a change.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Yeah.
So friendship's broken.
Well, if StarCraft 2 is free, you might as well play that.
Sure. I haven't installed any launchers on my new laptop yet.
There you go. You can break it with some Blizzard.
I was going to say, I haven't got any space.
Cool. Right.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
What have you been up to, mate? If you haven't been out to play games, what dodgy stuff have you been doing?
I've basically not been able to play any games. So I've just been watching a lot of television, or a lot of streaming, a lot of stuff. So I basically took an opportunity to stream a few series that been sort of like my lists of stuff I'll get round to, but I've also got one to plunge. So I'll work my way through them. I won't spend a lot of time on each one. So the first one I streamed was Love, Death and Robots.
Ugh.
Which is a anthology series.
Yeah.
So every episode is different. They're not linked in any way at all. It's basically a series of short stories. What's interesting actually when they actually contracted different teams to do each episode.
Yeah.
So they vary a lot in style between each episode. Some are animation, some are CG, some are live action. And they're all very different, very strange. They're all very
Can
strange.
I just throw... I just want to quickly... Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. You can go back to your thing. Was that the one where there's a person looking from one apartment into another apartment and then somehow they go and kill each other?
Yes, that's one of them.
Yeah, okay, so I have seen it, yeah.
That's a little ground sort of... Interestingly, if you... Netflix, actually, because they're anthology, it doesn't matter what order you watch them in, Netflix have like 4 different orders of them, and you get randomly assigned an order. So the order that I watched them in is probably not the order that you'll watch them in, because they'll be rearranged. So there's no correct order. Well, I suppose whatever the first one they set up was the correct one, but there's no thing. They just did it as a randomization, just as a trial to see what happened. And I quite enjoy it. I mean, obviously, it varies between what the episodes are. You know, it varies what sort of storylines are they engage or not. I mean, the one you're talking about is like a Groundhog Day type thing with a twist in that the people switch places
Yeah.
through the loop, which I thought was a neat concept. Well, that's quite neat. They're switching places, but they're in a loop, but they're switching places between each loop. Well, that's quite a neat concept.
Mm-hmm.
They vary. There's like some sort of, and what I think what's actually quite interesting is how well some of them are able to set up basically give you an idea of an entire sort of world in the space of like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're able to pick up quite a lot of information out of something and get a fairly good idea of how this world is structured. Not for being very overt, like saying, okay, guys, this is the world we're in, this does this, this, and this. You get through like just all crouched dialogue and so forth. You pick up quite a lot of that just through watching the thing. And I thought that just shows you how actually sometimes really, if you're limited to only 15 minutes to tell a story, how you go about it is actually quite interesting. It really limits you, but actually means you can make some really tight, nice stories.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I actually enjoyed most. There's a few which I thought were a bit naff, but I quite enjoyed them. They vary as well. Some are really serious and dark. Some are just comedy. There's one which is called Free Robots, and it's about these free robots who are like on holiday exploring like the leftover remains of humanity who've all been like wiped out.
Just don't they find like a vending machine and stuff like that. There's one of them kind of describing things or whatever, and
yeah, and getting it wrong. And they find like one's clearly meant to be like the latest version of an Xbox. Because they find like they find like the I think it's called the Xbox, and they find like the Xbox like 2, and he's like the Xbox 2 4000.
Yeah.
So it's all sort of that's just, you've got comedy ones like that. You've got some pretty serious ones. Some which are just downright weird and strange. So much. I mean, there's some. There's like, you know, I mean, I watched one episode which I thought was going to be out for future. Well, it had farmers in it. I thought this would be interesting. Farmers, and then he goes and gets in a giant mecha suit.
As you do.
Goes and shoot loads of bugs. It's like, okay.
Oh yeah, because I think I remember that one. Because there was like a mechanic in a barn, and they're rocking around doing what it looks like a regular farm. That turns out like on the boundary they're getting.
Actually, on the twist is actually on a planet.
Yeah.
And they like this like farm is like some sort of like biodome, and what they actually fight is the native life of the planet, and it's breaking through like the biodome, and they're sort of shooting it back.
Yeah.
I found them pretty neat. I quite liked most of them. I liked the fact that every episode was different. It sort of like had some ideas, but some of the episodes you do think, what the hell was that about? There's one where this giant washes up on the shore. And it's sort of like done as a monologue through this scientist who sort of moves on sort of physiological implication. And they say they hear these reports of this giant washing up, so they go down there. Of course, they don't believe it. They go down and they find this massive giant who's like, you know, his fingers the size of a person, and like everybody's sort of looking over them. And the scientist basically sort of like talks about it. But what I'm a bit strange about is he doesn't actually do anything to actually investigate this giant. No one seems particularly bothered by it. Like this huge giant person's washed up. There's no research being done on him. There's no one there thinking, "What the fuck is this?" They're just like he's just more like sort of like how the locals like sort of like think it's a bit strange, and eventually sort of they get bored, and then people like start taking pieces of him, and they start taking limbs off him, sort of like as souvenirs and so forth. But he doesn't actually do any sciencey work whatsoever. He just sort of like mulls on the philosophical point of it all. And it's like. Yeah, not a very good scientist, are you? Really? That's sort of like they've rather than send the biologist, they've sent the philosopher. It wasn't a good plan.
You don't do good science, son.
Yeah. So I found it, and you can whiz through so quickly because I think the longest one's about 20 minutes, and some of the short is 10.
Wasn't there one that was like a combat arena and?
Yeah, like a Pokemon style combat arena where that's one of the ones that I can't decide if that was live action or CG or was it really either quite good CGI or was it live action with a sort of like a filter to make it look more CG? I couldn't decide if that was what that was.
I don't remember enough about it to be honest.
Initially, I watched this on. I was watching on a laptop, which hasn't got a very particularly bright screen, so that didn't help. That was quite neat. There's some interesting twists and plots, and I I pretty enjoyed it. It's like, oh, these are quite sort of. I don't mind all weird short stories, and it's a good short story. If you don't really like it, it's okay. In 15 minutes, the next one's on. It's gonna be completely different.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so I love they try something different. It's sort of
It's quite old
it
now,
felt
isn't it?
season first one was released about 2 years ago, and season 2 dropped I think a few weeks ago.
All right, I don't think
So
we're in season 2 then. I know that
season 2. Now, interestingly, I didn't realize I watched season 2 first. I didn't realize that because I watched it by I just went to play it, and I assumed it's going to play from season 1. It played from season 2.
All right.
I didn't realize until I was like going through it, and I was like, there has to be an awful lot of episodes in this. And I went to look, it's like, and I was looking through it, thinking, oh, season 1's quite a few episodes in it. But what's season 2 gone? I went, oh, I've already watched all season 2. So that's only got like 8 episodes in it. But that was produced over a lot short time, whereas the original series was produced over a very long time, over like 3 or 4 years. So it's sort of like I think it's sort of like a little passion project for some people. They're trying to make their own little niche thing, and I personally found it quite neat. And it's called Love and Death and Robots because that's the 3 themes that will reappear over the episodes, sometimes very tangibly tied in. Let's face it, if you at any point one of the characters dies, it's technically ticked off the death section of that list. So, but no, I found it quite neat. I quite like those. I quite liked what Anthology series like that. I found them quite enjoyable. So yeah, I found it quite. It's very Twilight Zoney.
Yes.
It's very much like the Twilight Zone. How each episode was different and so forth. So it actually worked very similar sort of vein to that, but obviously very different. Really sort of different. So yeah, that was neat. I also watched a film called Sputnik, which is a Russian sci-fi, which is about this 2 astronauts. They come back from being up in space, working on a space station. They come back, and before they get back to Earth, they lose contact for 24 hours.
Right.
They eventually crash down, and they find one is in a bad way, quite sort of near death. The other, though, they find he's got like some alien organism living in him as a parasite. But it's because at first you think it's going to be a case of they come back, he gets back, he seems fine. There's alien breaks out, and then it escapes. They have to like sort of stand horror fair. It escapes. They have to try and find it and track it down, as in like the Alien films. That's what I was expecting it's going to be like. It's not. The alien comes out. But they know about it from pretty much like sort of day one. They first discover it. They get it contained, comes out, but also goes back into him. So it comes out for like an hour or so, and then goes back in.
Okay.
So they know about it. So they're trying to explore it, trying to work out what it is, how to separate him and it, see if they can separate and keep him alive, like not kill him.
Yeah.
Because they've tried it hasn't worked out well. At the same time, the alien seems to be sort of like learning, growing, adapting. They're sort of like trying to work out what it is. I thought it was actually quite a neat twist in the idea because I thought that's not at all where I was expecting it to go because that's where most people would go with that sort of storyline and how to treat it on. And that was quite neat because I'm sitting and watch a lot of Russian sci-fi. I've watched a few. This was, I thought, quite neat. It reminds me a lot of a really old sci-fi series, British sci-fi. I think one of the very first made from like 1950s, as in like for TV.
Sure.
Called the Quatermass Experiment, or Quatermass in the Pit. I think it's called the Quatermass Experiment. One of the two. And that's a really, really old sci-fi. And its neat thing was that it was actually broadcast live.
That's neat.
And they actually did a few years back. They did an anniversary recording of it, and they did anniversary recording live as well.
Huh.
So the actors in it were all playing basically like a stage play.
That's neat.
Performing live. It is neat, and because that had and that's interesting because the advertising breaks in it are very deliberately timed because that's the time the actors need to get to the next location.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
So they have to move from location to location. And that's actually a very weird thing about it because they're not just they were doing some external locations as well. So that's actually quite a challenge, you think, to go from an internal live, like good enough for TV, to an external good enough for TV filming. That's actually quite a challenge to make because you don't know what the weather's going to be like.
Especially not here.
No, so you have no idea what it's going to be like on the night, but you've got no choice. They actually finished 10 minutes early. they got through it quicker than they expected, so they finished 10 minutes early. And at the end, they all seem to have this massive celebration. It's all like they've sort of defeated the evil. No, it wasn't. They basically, the actors were celebrating the fact they finished it and got it done.
Like,
And
yeah,
achieved what they were
did
going
it!
for. But then they just let the cameras roll, left the cameras rolling. So everybody thought they scratched themselves the fact that they managed to defeat the alien, but it's not because they actually we made it. So that's quite neat. You can watch that on via. I'll put a link to the show notes for that because that's actually quite neat watching it because also if they fuck up and they do make a couple of blunders and they just have to recover from it. That's quite interesting. So that's what's about it. I like the fact that there was a little bit of a twist on an existing idea. And the last one I've been watching, I actually tried to watch it last year. It's called Dark, which is German sci-fi. And I'd heard good things about it. I tried to watch it. Now, originally I watched it subtitled, and I found it quite hard to follow.
Right.
Subtitled. So I watched it again. This time I watched it dubbed, and I found it a bit easier to follow. I feel it's just, it probably doesn't help that I feel I was trying to sort of watch it. You know, when you watch something, you're sort of trying to do something at the same time. It doesn't really work for subtitles. And but that's basically about this village called Winden, where kids keep disappearing, and they're trying to work out why. And they very quickly learn early on that something has happened, and it's created this freeway wormhole through time, split between 1986,
Right.
2019, and 1953, 33 years apart. So something happened in 1986, which basically pushed the wormhole to 2019, and then the wormhole to 1953. So it starts off in 2019, but actually that's not actually where its story started. It actually started in 1986, but obviously it's the usual time-wise of people sort of interacting, and there's one guy who sort of figures out and he tries to go back to sort of 1953, and he tries to change the past and stop everything happening, and when it doesn't work, he gets very upset about it. It's very neat. I can't talk too much about it without spoiling a lot of stuff.
Sure.
It's if you like a slow burning, it's quite slow burning sci-fi. If you like that sort of sci-fi, it's worth a shot. If you like a more fast-paced stuff, probably sort of won't give a miss because it takes probably about 4 or 5 episodes to sort of get going properly. There's a lot of scene setting and background setting and so forth to get going. But I don't mind that. I quite sort of of an evening, just sat there with a beer and I'll binge through 4 or 5 episodes and work my way into something. I don't mind that. So I'm now on season 2 of it, and it's got sort of even more weird because they've now gone even more to the future. But it's also following the same characters as well. So you sort of learn they follow sort of same set of characters. Still see their younger, middle-aged, and old version of them. You'll see them throughout all the different time zones, and you'll be following this. They're all sort of linking together. So it's it's interpersonal stuff in it. So I personally found it quite neat. I quite enjoyed that. So yeah, those 3 things I've been watching. I've also got something I'm looking forward to. I know.
Is Paul's segment back? Weird News will be back next time.
No, Weird News will not be coming back. So I shot it and buried it like an old dog.
And that's how we won one of our grave digging trophies.
Indeed it was. It wasn't Bard, it wasn't Middlemeister, it was Weird News. So I'm going Warhammer.
Yes.
You know how much I love Warhammer. They are launching a new service, a subscription service called Warhammer Plus, which I was like, oh, that sounds a bit. I thought, oh, here we are, I'll try and make some more money out of us, so forth. So I thought, I'll have a look at it. But actually, fact, it's a very generous subscription. So for an entire year, it's 50 quid, or you pay £5 a month, which is not horrendously expensive.
That's for Warhammer, that sounds fair.
Yeah, but you get, when you subscribe, if you subscribe for the year, you get given a model every year that's worth at least £25. So
right.
you're actually you get one for free every year if you subscribe to the subscription. So you pay 50 quid for the year, and then you get a model worth £25. So really, you've paid £25 for the year.
Yeah,
That's not
sure.
too bad. You then going to gain access to, because Warhammer they've gone big into animations. They're doing a hell of a lot of animation. Do you remember I sent you that Astartes film a little while back? That's the
Yes.
still guys. They've hired him to make an animation for them.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and they've got there's like something. I think they've got like something like 12 new series coming out.
So it's good that that guy's effort's been rewarded.
Yeah, he's making Astartes too. Now, being Warhammer has an animation in the past, and it's never gone well. So I am quite prepared for all the animation to be shit. Okay, I'm prepared for that. But the fact is, for 25, effectively 25 quid, I'm not too worried. You know, there might be some good. They can't fuck every single one up. The trailers look somewhat quite interesting. Actually, there's something in the trailer that's quite interesting. There's one trailer they did release which is really badly edited. Where they sort of like give like little teasers of all the different series, and it's very badly edited. Um, I'll link you that there, and you'll see exactly what I mean when you watch it. There'll be like weekly live streams. They're going to there are other things. There's actually apps for making your armies and stuff, and like sort of having rule books and stuff to your hand called the Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Age of Sigmar app. Normally, you pay $1.99 subscription for those. If you've got Warhammer Plus, you get that for free. So that's another thing you're getting for free as part of the subscription. You get premium access to all their official events. If you go to any official events, you'll get access to it. They're going to start digitizing all their old White Dwarf issues, which they're like Hobby magazine. They're going to start digitizing them all.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and find out all the old articles and stuff, which is
I suppose it's neat that they've got that archived. That's cool.
Yeah, they're going to start archiving. I think they've got to work their way through and archive it all. That's neat. Exclusive solo offers, and there'll also be you can buy if you get an exclusive Sky miniature, which you can purchase in addition to the one you get for free. I think for 50 quid for a year, that's a fucking bargain.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
And so I'm very much looking forward to that. That launches in August.
All right.
So I'm going to I will definitely be sort of signing up to that in August because, frankly, I for that sort of price, I ain't too bothered. I'm quite happy for it to. I think just the fact that you get morals actually makes it worth it.
I was going to say that's one Mickey's meal.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's good. It's a big takeaway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'll be signed to that. So that's my thing I'm looking forward to. I'll put links for all this in the show notes as well, so that any other Warhammer players out there can join in on that as well.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Marvelous. So that is literally everything from me.
And I've got nothing else. Oh, have you? He's got more, has he?
I was going to say, guys may have noticed we're not doing a 24 live stream at the moment.
No, we're not.
We decided to postpone it because of hardware issues.
Yeah, because we mentioned earlier that my poor PC is dead.
Yeah. So
stupid chip shortage.
Yeah, we're hoping to do it later in the year.
Yeah.
But it will depend on when the nice children start making graphics cards again.
If we can get the nice little Asian children to just look, guys, just one nice graphics card, just wing it my way. Happy joys. If not, do me a whole PC. But I won't be that greedy. As soon as I can get my rig up and running again, then yeah, we'll do the 24 hours. If not, I will try and find a way to run the whole thing off my laptop, but we might be asking a little much.
Yeah, that's fair. So
look as it catches fire as it's sat on the desk.
Poor laptop. Right, well, there we go. That's everything from me. Then, so just sort of talk to you about things. So you can join us for our next episode on the 17th of July. In 2 weeks' time at 9:30 GMT +1. You can join us for Games Night, which is on Tuesday at 8:30 on twitch.tv/RandNerds. You can also follow our individual. No, that's not on Twitch.tv RandNerds. The podcast is on Twitch.tv@RandNerds.
Games Night is on our individual Twitch channels.
Which is yours is
SK4ZZI0US over at twitch.tv Skazz. But because I'm a dick and I spell it weird.
Yep. And I'm twitch.tv/TheSuffolkRam. No weird spelling.
Yeah. You weirdo.
You can also check us out on our website, roundnerds.co.uk. And you can, if not, we'll join you again in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
So, very much for joining us, and hope we'll see you again soon.
Assuming we haven't killed each other by playing random RTSs.
Indeed.
I apologise in
Indeed.
advance. I'm sorry, Ram.
Yeah, I'm shit at RTSs, so
I'm gonna hire a little Korean, like, school kid to play for me.
yeah, that sounds like your plan.
So I'll be kind
Shall
of like.
we all just do that? Shall we all just do that? We all just hire Korean kids to play for
That
us.
started to sound like the Overwatch League. Like you got like, was it London Spitfire and they're all Korean kids?
Yeah. We'll just like say, hello, I'm the SuffolkRam, and here's my substitute. I can't think of a Korean name.
No, you don't even do that. You just say it's you, and we'll just dress him up in like some farmer gear and all that.
Oh dear. All right, Skazz. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Bye.